Hey guys. So at the end of the year, after you give the final, how do you know what the students actually liked about your class? Okay, so what I ask my students to do at the end of the final is I ask them to answer the question, what did you like about the class? Okay. And I usually tell them, hey, you got to write 5 things that you liked about the class. All right? Hold on a second. There you go. The reason why I asked this is, again, it's just a good barometer that actually helps you see what you're doing positive in the class. All right? So, first of all, I'm YAMA from YAMA Spanish Language Solutions, and this is YAMA Culture. So going back to this, if you look at the Scantrons, usually they have to answer the questions or this question and write down in the area. It can be anywhere that you want. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. So right now we're gonna read the answers that these students have, and I'll kind of talk a little bit about whatever it is that they wrote. Okay, so here we go. So this student says, I liked that we share and talk, speak Spanish, the seats are different, and the music. All right. So this really talks a lot about what happens in this class. So first of all, the part that says we share. So the style of teaching that I use is called PQAs, first of all, questions and answers. So these questions are, like I said, it's personal questions. Kind of like, well, what do you ought to do to be successful? Or do you interrupt in class? Or what's the most expensive thing in your classroom? All right. So this right here is talking about how does it go into sharing? Well, they have to think, okay, you know what? I'm going to share about my personal view of topics that we're talking about. Okay. Then it says speak Spanish. Well, if you're doing a language, teaching a language, obviously the students have to practice the language as much as possible. So in this classroom, even though we do write these questions and the answers, well, guess what? The students still have to get up and practice the speaking with the students. Okay? And why is speaking? Well, when they go out to the real world, the way they're going to communicate quicker and more efficiently is going to be via speaking. That's why we hit so much the speaking part as much as possible. And plus, they practice and their tongue loosens up. The seats are different. Yeah. So for each day, the seats are the chairs, the desks are arranged in a special way, or a different way. If you look at my previous videos, you'll see how I have it when it's an oral quiz, or when I'm doing a presentation, or when we have a language lab, or in finals, for example, in this case, the desks for this year, this final, at least this year, I really put it in a different type of design. So when the kids come in, they're like, whoa, wait, what's going on? What's going on here? All right, and the kids are they get to sit in the place, and it's always different. Okay, it's less boring. Again, if you go and watch my video, you'll see what I have explained about it. All right, thank you for whoever put that like on the video. Thank you. Anyway, then we have The music, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, the music, at least in my point of view, the music, when the students come in to at least to a language class, I feel that they have to feel like they're actually being immersed into a little bit, at least 45 minutes of being in that culture itself, all right? And part of that's the music. When they come in, right off the bat, they're listening to something in Spanish. Or, sorry, listening to something in that language. It could be a traditional type of music, or it could be it could be contemporary music, but in that language. Just so the students see, it's like, oh, wait a minute. I like that beat or that type of music. I didn't know they made it in German. Well, I didn't know they did it in Hebrew. All right. So that when the students come in, they're like, oh, okay. At least they know that. At least coming to this class, they're going to be bombarded with some sort of music, and music always makes people feel good. At least for me. The other part is, that's the last part that this student talked about. This next student, he actually wrote the answer in Spanish. So here we go. What I liked about this class was listening to music again. The students are, again, they come in and they're listening to music. And, hey, what was that again? And you always have a student saying, hey, what was that song again? Can I listen to that song again? Or can I at least get the name of the band and the name of that song? And sometimes they'll surprise you. They'll come back singing that song, or anyway, it's a good way to unite people. In fact, in one of the songs that we do in my class, it's called "Que Viva España," and at least with this period, the period that I was talking about, they just love singing it out loud, and they love when I sing it with them. They love when I try to get somebody else to sing it. It's just a good camaraderie. And guess what? When they go to when they get out of high school, or they never know when they're going to hear that song and say, hey, wait a minute, I know this song before, or I know this song, I've heard it before. Anyway, and I know what it means. Let's see. Working. So again, in this classes, it's a lot of writing. It's a lot of writing, but a lot of speaking too. Mainly the writing is for them to get the grammar correctly in English and in Spanish, and the vocab in English and in Spanish, because trust me, they need it in both languages. Trust me. The other thing here is writing. So this student loved the writing in Spanish and English. Well, mainly in Spanish, because that's the whole thing. Writing in the target language. And that's one of the things that he likes, is just being able to express themselves writing and verbally eventually. And the teaching style. Well, again, the teaching style that I use, the personal questions and answers. Again, this is more of using the grammar and the vocab and putting it into personal questions and answers where they're going to be using the grammar and the vocab in first person. I'll ask it in second person, and they'll answer in first person, and then eventually I'll ask another person, or I'll use it in third person, and after we've done first, second, and third, then they have to ask me in obviously second person, but formal, okay? Let's do the next one. This person said the 5 things that I like about this class are, the first one was how I teach the class. Again, it's very loose, but again, it's the PQAs and it's stuff that interests them. If you teach, or better yet, if you make the subject relevant to them, you will always, I guarantee it, you'll always have them remember a bit more. Okay? Why? Because it's important to them. The second one is how it isn't a big deal not to know something. Yeah. Hey, all I know is that I don't know anything. I'll be the first one to tell the students that I am the one that's ignorant. But at the same time, if you don't know, or if they don't know something, it's okay to ask Because what's the worst thing that can happen? You learn. And that's it. All right? And you work that atmosphere. It's like no big deal. So you learn it, now you say it, or now you can use it. That's it. That's the end of that. All right? Because I know that I've been in that position many times. The third one is ease and not stressful class. Yeah. So again, the environment that me as a teacher or as a teacher that puts you make in the classroom, especially if it's an easy environment, that's up to you. You're the one that's going to make it into the... Those are my 10 minutes. Anyway, those are what you call it. The easiness is again is making them understand that if they don't know something, it's totally fine if you don't know. Also, it helps that the classroom, the students also have that easygoingness. Like, oh, you didn't know it? Okay, fine. And they're all trying to help each other, so it's less stressful for the students because they're already speaking, they're already trying to express themselves in a different language. And that is stressful enough for students, okay? The next one is Duolingo, all right? So Duolingo, if you don't know, if you've never used Duolingo, Duolingo is an app and it's also a web page. And if you're a teacher, you can also do Duolingo schools, which that's what I use. So on Mondays, or the first day of the school week, it could be a Tuesday if it was a 3-day weekend. Monday usually is a Duolingo day where the students get to work or discover Spanish at their own pace. Now the thing is that they do have to at least meet or try to meet 100 XP, which is experience points for that day. So let's say that if they worked on that period and they get 70 XP, that will be their grade. Their daily grade would be a 70. They didn't get to the 100 XP. All right? So that would be one. And again, there's a video that I've made where it talks about how, the schedule, what do I use. But on Monday or the first day, it's a language lab, and the students, they take their time, they have at their own pace, but they do have to give me at least. All right, they're not pressured to be like you have to be here and here. No. Whatever the pace it is that you have, that's your pace. But at least show me that you've learned something with these XPs. All right, look it up. I'm going to make a video about Duolingo very soon. And then Thursday, we have, or Thursday, he says, Thursday we get tested. Yeah, again, every Thursday in this classroom, every Thursday in this classroom, there would be a speaking test or a speaking assessment, speaking quiz, something that had to do with the students speaking and basically demonstrating, presenting what they've done all week and also all year in front of the class. Okay, so again, there's a video that I've made that talks about how I quiz them and the room and how it's set up. But the important part is how this is set in the schedule, the weekly schedule. And it really helps the students feel that calm, that easiness, that they know that, okay, on Thursday I know I'm going to get tested. It's not like, oh no, it's a pop quiz. No, it's like on Thursday I'm going to get tested, at least, every Thursday. Now, let's say that on Friday there won't be any school. Well, then that Thursday gets moved to a Wednesday. And obviously you tell that person, hey, you tell the students, like, hey, we're adjusting it on Wednesday. Since we're not coming, on Wednesday we're going to get tested. And the kids are like, okay, well, all right, well, we're ready for that. And again, on Tuesday and Wednesday, you really, really, really hammer those personal questions and answers. You really speak. You clean whatever it is. You review. And then on Thursday, they got to present. They got to present. Watch the video. Yeah, and then and here we go. This is this last student. The last student. Remember, we're supposed to have 5. His answer was, I like when I practice saying Spanish and learning different countries and history. Okay, so let's do the first one. I mean, well, we're supposed to do 5, but he only did 2. So anyway, saying things in Spanish. Well, again, this student, or better yet, this class, a language class, they should be speaking more and more and more and getting more and more fluent as possible in the target language. That gives it that sense of confidence. It's like, hey, I can actually express myself in this. And it's also challenging. All right? It's also challenging the mind. Can I do this? Can I say this? Do I get corrected? How do I want to say this correctly this time. I've heard it many times, or I've heard it before. Anyway, now I get to use it. The thing is, saying it in Spanish, or pronouncing it, or just speaking the language. That's why you're here in the class, right? That's why you took this language. And learn different countries and history. Yeah, I made a video about what my schedule is, and again, I'll just really review here. On Monday, you have that Duolingo where the students have a language lab, and they just discover the language at their own pace. Tuesday and Wednesday is when we really do the grammar and the vocabulary with these PQAs. Thursday is the day that we actually test or present those PQAs. And on Friday, guess what? Everybody's tired on Friday. We don't know what they got going on, what test, but on Friday, we turn it down a notch. We go down to what it would be a cultural Friday. All right, and again, I've made a couple of videos that talk about what I do for Cultural Fridays and how I set up the room and all that stuff. But in those Cultural Fridays, we just take a trip to a different country or a different place. So for example, it could be La Alhambra, or it could be the Mayan world, the Mayan Riviera. It could be Toledo. It could be Peru. It could be Cusco. It could be Mexico. Anywhere. But the thing is that on Friday, everybody's tired, everybody's fried, especially during those last 2 periods. The last 2 periods, they're really tired. Now, they do have to take notes, but it's that moment where you get to visit or revisit those places that you've been to. And again, it's open for you, whatever cultural thing you want to talk about. Whatever you lived in the target language or in one of the countries on the target language. But the students, a lot of the students, just like this student said, they like that because it's a break. And then they're saying that they love learning about the country. Hey, you're doing cross-curricular, and you see that some students do like that type of that part of the language experience, the culture, the history. All right. Anyway, well, that's all the time I have. So let's see right here. Boom. So again, for all you guys. At the end of during finals, I have my students answer, what did you like about the class, and at least have 5 answers. You just saw my reaction, or better yet, what students actually write down that they do like. So, right now, let me give some shout outs. Oh, here we go. Sorry. Let me give a shout out to Ted and Kat. Hope you guys, I miss you guys and I miss your workouts a lot. As you can tell, boom, I'm working out still. I'm trying to look as good as I used to look. Also, we want to give a shout out to Hani and her brand, Wolf and Scamp, sorry. I also want to give a shout out to my lovely wife and to my son. Also, if you guys have any comments, any questions, any suggestions, please write it down there. I learn from that. Share if you know somebody that's just getting into the teaching. This is an awesome way for them to see what they've done correctly. Subscribe, press like, and YouTube. You just look for YAMA COOL-TURE in YouTube. Also, I offer online classes for Spanish. I do translations and subtitles for videos or for movies. So if you're interested, just send me just put it down in the comments, or just hit me an email. Anyway, with that done, I'm Yama from Yama Spanish Language Solutions, and this was YAMA Culture, and I'll see you when I see you.